So we're here in the N72 Stagmount Bends Road Improvement Scheme in County Kerry. We're situated between Barduff and Rathmore in the townland of Gortanahaneboy East. This is the site of Gortanahaneboy East 2. It's a blacksmith's forge that we discovered in testing at the end of last year.
So I'm walking next to the remains of the 18th, possibly late 17th century forge that's been excavated here on the road scheme, and I am walking where the entrance to the forge would have been. Can you imagine me bringing in the horse and positioning it, and then behind me is where the smith would have been doing his job. So what we've been talking about, the horse standing here, possibly the wheels, they're just ideas at the moment. They make sense as what we're seeing now, but the real clues are still in the ground. And the guys here that are excavating it will take what's called XY coordinates. So the exact location of every single object will be recorded. And the clues that will give us, will show us the whole range of activities that we're actually carrying on. If the pieces that are found here, if there's a lot of horseshoe nails here, then yes, we're correct. If there's strips of iron over there, yes, then it's more than likely that this is where the cartwheel was made. But who knows what else was going on within the forge. The smith would have stood exactly where I'm standing. Behind me is where the charcoal was, where his tools were. You can see the stones. There might have been some kind of platform there. And then when he was working, what you see here on the left-hand side is the setting for the heart. Yeah? So the height of the heart, as you can imagine, and which is still the way that a smith would work today, would be more or less at waist level. So the fire would have been in here. What you see here, this brown area in front of me, is where the anvil would have been located. So he's heating the iron here, he's turning around, working it like this. How do we know that this is most likely an anvil, the place where the anvil would have been? First of all, okay, it makes sense, the position to the heart, which also would mean that the smith was right-handed, because he's holding the iron here and then working it like this. The reason that I'm as good as sure is this brown material is so-called smithing pan. Smithing pan is small bits of iron. The hammer scale are like the sparks that you see flying when a smith is working. They're actually tiny pieces of really hot metal. They all end up here. The moment this gets a little bit wet, this will just all kind of cake together into what's called a smithing pan. The stones then are where the wooden block would have been. On top of the wooden block would have been the anvil. So that's kind of the anvil setting here. Here we have the interesting situation that this forge was built against the boundary wall. So in this case, either the bellows would have been located here, operated with some kind of pulley system, or could have actually been set into some kind of a recess within the floor.
On behalf of Transport Infrastructure Ireland and Kerry County Council, we're delighted with the work Tony and his team are doing here on the excavation of the forge. And then Tony will be doing the post-excavation phase of the works, where he'll do all the analysis of the slag and other residues from the site. And then we intend sometime next year that the results will be published in a local journal, hopefully in County Kerry.
At the top of the hill here, in the 1700s and the 1750s, there was a Turnpike road, which is essentially an 18th century toll road owned by the Earl of Kenmare. The date of the Turnpike Road, which was first established in 1748, but was gone out of business by the 1840s because it's not on the first edition Ordnance Survey map. We're here at the site of Gortanahaneboy East 3, and I am standing at the edge of a metal surface which represents an 18th century Turnpike road which would have went from Rathmore to Killarney. When we uncovered the metal surface of the Turnpike road, it was at the edge of the road take for the current road widening works. In this phase of excavation, the landowner kindly allowed us to excavate a trench by hand to the south that you can see in front of you, outside of the road take, in order to get the full extent of the road. And to the south, at the end of that trench, you can see there's an accompanying ditch related to the road surface as well. In the early 18th century, the Irish Parliament enacted a series of laws establishing a presentment system for constructing and maintaining county roads, alongside separate legislation that founded boards of management known as Turnpike Trusts. The Turnpike Trusts were to maintain particular arterial roads, and they financed their work through toll charges. The first Turnpike Act was passed in 1729, and the first Turnpike Road was built between Dublin and Kilcullen in County Kildare.